My name is Benjamin Abana. I'm a full-time artist living in Copenhagen. I'm half Nigerian, half Danish, and born and raised in Denmark.
I want to start with the definition. What is an artist? I know it's abstract, so it can be, but you've been an artist for some time now.
Yeah, I've been an artist for about 10 years, 10, 11 years, yeah. What is an artist? Oh, that's a good question. Like basically for me, I kind of project an image in my own vision to the canvas or to the paper or whatever medium I'm using. An artist has the ability to maybe tell a specific story, political or a story from history or some event taking place, and then bring that story to the canvas. If you're a fine artist like me, of course, working with paints and colors. What is an artist? It's a really good question.
Yeah. But you say that you've been an artist for about past 10 years. How you get this vocation? How you become an artist?
I have always been into drawing since I was really small, and I thought maybe I would work with animation, but that never came about. So for a long time I thought I would I'll become a graphic designer working with advertising and art direction and stuff like that. But making commercials I was feeling kind of empty, trying to sell people stuff that they basically don't need. So I just wanted to get back to something more, artist-like, more hands-on, using my hands basically, using the pencils, the brushes, everything, something more old school in a way. It has been like a journey for maybe 15 years, switching from using a computer or starting with the pencil and using the computer, then back to using pencil and paint, and teaching myself how to paint actually. I never went to any art school or anything. I took some courses in classical drawing and animation, and that's basically it. So I'm self-taught. But it has been a journey. I've been teaching myself how to put colors together and work with the correct proportions. But because I come from drawing, it's been easier for me to translate that into painting.
You said that you, an artist, somebody who put story into his work.
Yes.
What kind of story that you portray on your drawings, on your work?
The stories I try to portray when it is not commission work, because commissions are people telling me what they want, but my own portraits and paintings are. I try to bring in maybe some small details about a situation. Like I have a collection of African paintings or African inspired paintings, and it's about like middle class people, because we tend to focus on the poor people or the rich people, but there's a broader spectrum of middle class people also in all of Africa. So I just want to portray normal people going about their normal business, like kids playing and a woman in the field, a woman carrying a baby, all normal stuff. But when you make a painting of it, you take it away from that ordinary situation and you kind of bring it into something on a higher level, because we're used to seeing portraits of people in museums and we tend to think that they might be a king or whatever, some important person. But it's interesting to take ordinary people and paint them, because it automatically gives them more status, even though they are just ordinary people. And the story I want to tell about ordinary people is that we don't have to look at people from Africa either, like poor people or corrupt rich people, but there's ordinary people. With other paintings or portraits, I try to be as honest as possible with the person I look at, because you can really play around with people's feelings in a painting. And the way I use colors, I also direct the onlooker to a certain feeling or a certain setting in a way. So if I have like a portrait of a sad person, but I use glad or happy colors, that will kind of confuse you. You will try to think what is going on here, because you see some sadness, but you also feel a kind of warmth or happiness, so it gets more sentimental in a way.
What kind of technique do you use in order to paint or to do your work?
The technique I'm using is I usually have reference photos for my portraits, and I'll study the reference photo and be looking for spot colors, be looking for colors that if I see a little speck of green, then I'll just overdo it. And that's what I do with all the colors. That's why my portraits are that colorful. And then I can always make it more realistic afterwards. If I feel that it's too many colors, I will tend to use more subtle colors or less colors. But I'll always start out by looking at the photo and see what colors do I actually see, like study the photo. Like for instance, if you have a very dark-skinned person, if that person is outside, you will actually see a very bright blue color, like sky blue color in the skin, because of the reflections from the sky. And that's really interesting. Like, it's easier to use brighter colors with darker people, and you have to be a little bit more subtle with lighter people or light people. But it's also interesting to bring colors into paintings here in Scandinavia, like with Danish people or Scandinavian people or light-skinned people, because we are used to more douche, more like something like this, blue, green, gray, black, white, and then try to be more colorful, because it's a big contrast to what you are used to seeing here in Scandinavia. So if you go to people's homes, for instance, it will be very subtle in the colors. And then it's interesting to put in maybe one of my paintings and then add a lot of color to that environment. So it's a fun contrast.
All right. Talking about the Scandinavia, how is to be an artist in Scandinavia, Denmark in particular?
To be an artist here is it's a tough business. I feel very blessed that I'm prospering, especially after the TV program, The Best Portrait Painter in Denmark, which I won. So
yeah, we want to talk about it.
Yeah. But since that program last year, things have really been taken off. Before that, I was struggling a little bit financially, but it has been going steadily forward, and I've been making a little bit more and a little bit more. But I started out with nothing at all. I cut down on all expenses. I had my bike and I had my cell phone, and I rented a cheap room in an apartment that was owned by one of my friends, so I could even sometimes skip a month and then pay him back maybe a little bit later. So I cut every expenses down to the bare minimum, and then I just try to make some money on my art, and gradually
That's good.
it worked out. Yeah.
But tell what exactly is this prize that you won? Because I heard that's why I feel that more interest that I need to talk to this man
Yeah.
here. Tell us a little bit about this prize.
There has been this program, The Best Portrait Painter in Denmark, running for the past, it should be 3 years, but it's probably 2 years, 3 seasons. So I actually saw it when it first came out, the first season, and I was like, I need to be on that show, because I was doing commission portraits a lot, but so I already had a technique, and I'm actually pretty fast. So I thought they had 4 hours to do a portrait of a celebrity, Danish celebrity. And then if you moved on from one episode, you moved to the semifinals, and from the semifinals to the final. So I thought, okay, let me enter this competition if the program comes again. So season 2 was advertised, but I missed the deadline for entering the program. So I was a little but then I thought, okay, let me just keep track on when casting is opening again for this program. So I was waiting, and finally in May 2019, I saw on DR that they were looking for people to participate in the TV show. So I wrote the production company as soon as I saw that, and I said, I would really like to be in this TV show. And I said, yeah, we would like that too. You have to wait for 4 months, and then the judges will pick the ones who are going to be in the TV show. So I was waiting, and then 2nd of August or 3rd of August, I got a call that I was in the TV program. So that was really amazing. And I didn't know what to expect, and I was a little skeptical actually, because I thought maybe I was selling out, and maybe I was selling out, and I didn't know if it would actually ruin my career to be in a TV show like that, because it was really good, but it's also like very mainstream, a very mainstream show. But I thought, well, what can go wrong? At least people will know who I am, so it can't be that bad. And then we started recording, and they were here interviewing me, seeing this place. And then we came to the first episode. That was at Horsens Art Museum, and I actually performed very poorly. But that was also the first time the judges could see the self-portraits that we brought. Every person had to bring their self-portrait. So they saw my self-portrait live, and I think that's why they sent me on to the semi-finals actually, even though my portrait in the episode was not that good. So I had 1 month to prepare for the next episode, for the semi-finals, and that came, and that went so good. And I was very satisfied with the result, and the judges were as well, and the person I was portraying, Rosa from another TV show, she picked my portrait and actually sent me on to the finals automatically. So then I was in the finals. We had to portray Pilo Asbæk, famous Danish actor who was in the Game of Thrones actually. And well, I wasn't that nervous. It was just like, well, I was aiming for the finals. I was not aiming for winning, because I thought at least if I can get to the finals, I would be on TV as much as I could, and actually people would see my work. But then I won, and I was perfect. I was really great, and since then I have been working so incredibly much. I have worked for the next 3 years, just commissions, and then I have all type of work besides that. So a lot of work. So I'm a little bit tired, but I'm also very happy.
That sounds very good.